When we talk about a channel of distribution, we're talking about how the flows go from the manufacturer to the end customer. And the flows, when we're talking about flows, we're talking about goods, services, informations, and finances. Those are the four flows. So how do they get from the manufacturer to the distributor? Our book likes to take the channels and break them up into two main channels. One's the logistic channel, which is the means by which the product or service flows physically from where they're made or available to where they need to be. Then there's also the marketing channel, and this refers to the means by which the necessary transactional elements are managed. For example, customer orders, billings, accounts receivable, those type of things. So that's what's illustrated in this picture. Here's just a depiction of all the various models that we have for fulfilling customers' requirements or getting our products and services to our customer. At the top we have direct to customer. A couple slides back there were some pros and cons. You can go back there and read over them, but we're going to go ahead and look at each of these specifically in some detail. So this graphic depicts a integrated fulfillment model. So what we have is we have a manufacturer who takes the goods and services or goods and gives them to a retail distribution center. We might have a lot of manufacturing distribution centers that are feeding this one retail distribution center. And then that one retail distribution center then fulfills orders towards retail stores and to individual customers. So we have one distribution center that's fulfilling both the traditional retail store model and shipping directly to the end customer. So traditionally how this works is we have a channels already set up. We have a distribution center that's supplying or feeding our retail stores. So we're maintaining that brick and mortar type of situation. Now we're adding this idea of click, where now we're servicing these people that need to get it directly. The advantages: low startup costs, and the existing network can service both. Disadvantages: the order profile will change with additional internet orders. What does that mean? Instead of going from a pallet size of service to our retailers, we're now breaking those pallets apart and pulling out eaches. That might not seem like a big deal, but when you're used to managing pallets and now we're managing eaches, it takes a lot more room, and we need a pick center or a pick area. We need a consolidation area, we need an individual wrap area, and then we have to consolidate those orders through some other service. In other words, we might not even use our own trucks anymore like we did with our retailers. Now we might need to interface with a UPS service or a FedEx service. And then the question becomes, what happens when the store needs an item and the internet order is competing? Who gets first priority? This graph or image depicts a dedicated fulfillment type of arrangement. Here we have a manufacturer. We're sending inventory both to a retail distribution center and a retail distribution center specifically for internet or direct to customer. So we're still servicing the brick and mortar presence. This isn't just an e-presence, but we have dedicated distribution centers both for retail and for the internet. They have different picking strategies. They handle different amounts in order. The retail distribution center is using pallets. The retail distribution center that is just going for individual consumer use, we're looking at eaches again. So there's some advantages and disadvantages to both. So dedicated fulfillment model, both a store and an internet presence with two separate distribution networks. The advantages: we get rid of most of the disadvantages of having an integrated system. The disadvantages: we're duplicating facilities and we're duplicating inventories. Now sometimes we don't have to duplicate facilities. Sometimes we can break a facility up into two, like the same building, but into two distribution centers, but we're still duplicating inventories. Some inventory for each. So there's pluses and minuses. Okay, outsource fulfillment. Again, here we have the same model for distribution to our retail stores. That's something that we've had in place. That's something that we're continuing to use. Now we're adding, in addition to that, this idea of outsourcing the internet stuff to somebody else, to outsource the distribution center to a 3PL. We can actually do this individually. I have a student who developed some cool bracelets to help kids be identified especially if they're at Disneyland or that type of thing. Autistic parents really like these things because with autistic children, sometimes they'll just wander off or unlock the door and out they go, and we don't know where they are. So he was trying to find a distribution model, and he was going through retail stores, and now he's using Amazon in addition to other ways. But through Amazon, he can send his product to Amazon. They'll handle everything, getting orders, money, all the different flows. Amazon handles it as long as he can get his product to their distribution centers. So that's an outsourced distribution center model. So one of the major advantages to this outsourced fulfillment model, really low startup costs. My friend doesn't have to get a distribution center, rent another facility, maybe a storage unit. He can take his product and he can actually ship it directly to Amazon for the distribution. I have another story about a guy who looks at Amazon for things that he can't buy. And one of the things he couldn't buy is lamp oil. So he found a good manufacturer of lamp oil. He calls them. He gets the lamp oil shipped to Amazon. He gets the containers and the labels shipped to Amazon. It doesn't even come through him. He doesn't even have to see it. Amazon breaks the bulk, puts the big containers of lamp oil and separates it into the smaller containers, labels it, keeps it at their distribution center, gets the orders in, sends them out. This guy's making I think 2,000 last I heard a month with just lamp oil, and all he is placing 3 buy orders a month, or maybe even every other month. Disadvantages: loss of control over service levels. Now, if you can trust your outsourced model, if you can trust Amazon that they have good customer service, then that's not a problem. Some 3PLs aren't as good. Dropship fulfillment is a fulfillment model in which the manufacturer ships directly to the retail stores and doesn't go through a distribution center. And there are advantages and disadvantages to this. Okay, so the advantages and disadvantages. Well, one thing to note, this really works best for products that have a short life cycle or shelf life. Milk, eggs, produce, right? Advantages: reduction in inventory in the distribution network, and the vendor has direct control over his inventory. Some of the disadvantages: possible reduction in inventory visibility. There's also usually associated with this a large increase in cost and transportation. One of the things that we use distribution centers for is gathering full truckloads of inventory and then sending hopefully full truckloads out. In this model, sometimes we're not sending full truckloads. Store fulfillment, we've seen this model throughout. We have manufacturing distribution center, goes to retail distribution center, then goes to the retail store. We're hoping to save in transportation costs by consolidating material at the retail distribution center. So we're sending full truckloads to the retail distribution center, then we're sending full truckloads from the retail distribution center directly to the retail stores. So we're saving a lot in transportation costs. So some of the advantages to this store model: short lead times to the customer. Hopefully our retail distribution center is located close to a lot of different customers. So we'd have clusters. We'd have a retail distribution center for the Salt Lake area. Then we'd have another one for the Las Vegas area, and then the Reno area. Anyway, you get the idea. So we have this place that we're holding inventory that can respond quickly to the retail customers as their needs and demand changes. Returns can be handled through the store. Product available in consumer units. Disadvantages: reduced control and consistency over order fulfillment. I'm not seeing that as a big disadvantage, actually. Now, this flow-through model looks very similar to the last store fulfillment model, but the difference is we're actually sending both pallets to the retail store and eaches to the retail store for a customer to pick up. Best Buy uses this model. So I can order something online through Best Buy, and it may or may not be already at the retail store. If it is, they can actually pull it off the shelf and package it for me and hold it on the counter. So I just walk up to the counter and say, "Hey, I'm Eric, please give me this." They can also order things, or I can order things from the manufacturers or the retail distribution centers directly for me that's normally not held at the retail store. So there's a lot of advantages. It eliminates inventory conflicts because we have dedicated inventory for me. I've ordered it, you've pulled it off the shelf, or you've sent it directly for me with my name and I've already paid for it. It avoids the cost of the last mile, meaning that not it's shipped to the retail store. It's not shipped directly to me, so there's extra costs when it's shipped directly to me. Walmart has this too, where you can order from Walmart free if you pick it up at the store, or it costs you money to have home delivery. Returns can be handled through the existing store network, which is awesome. I buy it from Walmart, I have it shipped directly to me. If I have any problems with it, I take it back to Walmart or take it back directly to Best Buy if I buy it through Best Buy. This disadvantage, again, some of these disadvantages are kind of, for me, reaching. But if you look at the Best Buy store, you see that they have changed the way their layout is set up, so they actually have a bigger customer service area for flow through fulfillment, where I can go grab my stuff or return my stuff. So it's like their internet presence in a large box arena.